what I'm providing you with, okay? So many people cannot afford to buy a vehicle outright, right? You can't just buy it all cash. So they borrow money from a lending institution. So that's your bank, your dealer, you have it, and pay it back over time. No surprises there. I'm pretty sure you all understand that. But there are two big components always at play. There's something called the principal, which is not our principal, our school principal, right? It's the main amount that you're borrowing. And then there's something that they charge you for you being able to pay it back over time. That's called interest. Okay, so these are the two big components when it comes to financing. Okay, you need to keep that in mind. So principal is basically the money or the amount, okay, borrowed sometimes, right, also known as balance owing. Okay. Interest is the cost of borrowing. It's also known as finance charge. Okay. So the principal interest is always there. So naturally, when you borrow a certain amount, because of the interest, you're always going to pay back more than what you borrowed. And I think that most people understand that, right? But I will show you exactly how that breaks down. Vehicle loans typically should be paid off in 5 to 7 years. This varies. Most of our examples only go up to 5 years, but some dealers even go 8 years right nowadays. And so interest rates are commonly in the range of, I would say, anywhere between 3 to 7%. Obviously, if you buy brand new, it could be, okay, new is sometimes 0%, but I never trust that fully when they say that. I think that it's built into the price if it's 0% financing. You will see that often. I have a hard time believing that a company, car company or car manufacturer would just give away money, right? So understanding interest. So this part is where I'm gonna kind of give you a case study, right? We're gonna do an example here. I'm a highlighter ready. The interest paid is essentially the penalty, right? Penalty for paying over a period of time. You pay it back over a period of time. It is also referred to as the finance charge. So I'm repeating the terms that you've already heard. A lot of people do not care about the interest paid as long as they can afford the payment. I can probably put myself in that category as well. If I want that car, as long as I can afford it, I don't think too much of interest, right? The goal of this course is for you to be a smart consumer, understanding how interest works, right? I want you to understand how interest works. That is essential for you to be a smart consumer. If you have knowledge, you can actually leverage that on in your favor, okay? So let's just I picked this number for a reason, because let's assume you buy a car for 12 grand and you pay it back in 1 year, right? 12 grand over 12 months. Roughly, it would be $1,000 a month that you would have to pay back, correct? Do you think that's going to be the case? Is it going to be $1,000 a month? It's going to be more. And so I will tell you that. I have a fancy graphing calculator that can calculate that 12 months over 5 years. So don't worry about this. You're not going to have to do this, okay? I'm just showing you. So if it's 12 months, at 5%, you borrow 12,000. I can just calculate that. I think that is already the answer. I'm just gonna, yeah, this is the answer. So your actual payments are 1,027 and 29 cents. So we're gonna write that down here. Right? And I'll just say used used app, right? Because nowadays you can just download an app and ask it to calculate the payment for you, so there are no surprises, okay? So that means that over 12 months, you will pay, let's do this, and we go 12 months, right, times 1,027.29, and I will calculate that, 12 times 1,027.29, and you actually pay back this much over 1 year. 12,327.48. So you borrow 12,000, and after a year of making payments, you actually pay back 12,327.48. That is the interest. The difference between what you actually borrowed, the principal, and what you pay back is the interest, right? Total interest. We'll just do mental math, okay? 327.48, right, from here to here. And principal, 12,000, because that is what you borrowed to begin with. So total interest is 327.48, and total principal is 12,000. Okay, so these two combined is what you pay back in total at the end. Okay, so let's make a little bar, leave room under here, but let's just make a horizontal. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine, but just to illustrate, right? If this is the total amount you pay back, I would say this is probably the 12,000, and this is 327.48. Okay, and combined, you obviously paid back 12,327.48 cents. So principal, interest, P and I always make up the total amount you pay back. Okay. So I hope you left a little bit of room down here. That's why I started teaching with a document camera, so that my paper is the same as your, right? The room, not on the whiteboard. It's kind of like, where do I fit this now? So let's make a line. If you can, if you have a ruler, I'd like you to make a straight line like this, spanning, right, about the same distance as I have here. Okay. Something like if you have anything to make a straight line, right, use the side of your calculator. It doesn't matter. Okay. And we're going to make 12 bars, right? And these 12 bars are going to represent each payment, right? Because you're doing this over 12 months. So try to make them as they're going to be equally spaced out, and they're going to be have the same height. So 1, 2, 3. We're on page 14, Cash. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it worked for me. Just have 12 bars, make them all have the same height. And we're going to put payment down here, and we're going to call this payment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So much work on a Tuesday morning, right? I need you to understand this part to be a smart consumer. And I'm just doing this over 12 months. This could be over 5 years, which is 60 months, right? Then you'd have to draw 60 bars, which I didn't want you to do, right? I just wanted to illustrate this point. That's all I'm doing. Okay? So each bar is representing your payment. What was your payment again? It was $1,027.29. Okay, so let's, on the side here, let's make one of these, and that each bar represents this. Okay. Each bar is, does your payment change once it's determined? You think? Does your payment change or does it stay the same? What do you think? Once the bank says, hey, pay us $1,027.49 for 12 months, it is $1,027.49 for 12 months. It doesn't change. It's fixed. But what happens is that every payment is broken down and you don't see this, except for if you ask for a detailed printout of your account. But every payment has a small principal portion, an amount that goes towards the principal, an amount, I go lowercase I, an amount that will go towards the interest. Okay, so as time goes by, the interest portion gets smaller and the principal portion of that payment gets larger. So we're not going to do that for all of the bars, but the principal portion gets like more and more of your payment is going to go towards actually paying off your amount, the debt, and the other one goes towards the interest. This, folks, the bank gets. You never see this part. Okay? So let's do this. Go P and then just every principal here that we have in the bar goes towards the 12,000 that you owe, and the I's go towards the interest you owe. Okay, that's important to remember. And we'll just leave it at that because otherwise it gets too complicated. But every payment has some money that goes towards the principal, and some of this money goes towards paying the interest to the bank. And over time, the interest, until you get to the end, there's almost no interest left, right? So it doesn't stay the same. Interest gets smaller, the principal portion gets bigger, okay? And I don't want you to fall asleep, so I'll leave it at that. Okay, that's how payments work. This is real life. I'm not making this up. This is how it works. Okay, in the background. If you can wrap your head around it, we'll talk about this more. We'll actually do some calculations, and then I just want you to keep this in mind every time you look at a question, okay? All right. You're doing okay? Can I flip? I'll flip to the next page where I'm going to give you a bunch of formulas. And I want you to know this. If I mention table, I'm talking about a table that's on page 18, which we're going to look at a little bit later. So right now, don't worry about it. I just want to remind you that that's the table we're going to look at. Okay. So to figure out the loan, the actual amount you're going to pay, you're going to go purchase price. Okay. You're going to go purchase minus. Just want to make sure. I'm just going to go purchase minus down payment. Okay. So if you take the purchase, you take away the down payment, that's the loan. Does that make sense, right? Because if you buy a car that's worth 20 grand and you have 5 grand, right? You're going to pay that 5 grand and the 15 you're going to finance, right? That's going to be the loan, whatever is left over, okay? Monthly payment, let's put an equal sign there. Actually, I'll just do that here. Payment is equal to purchase minus the down, and you multiply this by a table rate divided by 1,000. You don't have to worry about that table rate. I will always provide that to you for a test or anything, quiz. So you don't have to copy any of that down, okay? So table rate, that's the table we're talking about on page 18, which I will show you later. But this is how you find the monthly payment, okay? That's how we do it. Total paid to the bank, I will call that total paid to bank like that, so you know, okay? Total paid to the bank is going to be payment that you calculated up here, right? Let's put that in brackets, times the number of years times 12 months. That's how you would calculate the total you paid back to the bank. The payments times the years times 12. Total interest on loan. So we're going to call that total interest, like that, TI. Total interest is payment times years times 12. So it's basically this here, right? Months minus the loan. And now that I'm talking loan, I'm going to go back up and just clarify that this portion here, can you go back up here to monthly payment and just indicate that this part here, when you subtract these two, that's referred to as the loan. Okay, which I already identified up here. Purchase minus down is the loan. I'm just making it come back here. Okay. Interest paid on the first month. Okay, we're just going to call that lowercase I, like that. Okay, lowercase I is really just the loan right, times interest rate, and that has to be as a decimal, divided by 12. I, which is the interest in the first month, okay, very important. Total paid for the car, which is down, plus the total paid to the bank. So if you think of the car itself, you would take the down payment and add the total you paid to the bank. So this is what it looks like. Down payment plus payment times years times 12. And I don't know, total paid for the car, TPC. I'm just making some of these up, right, to help you out. So total paid for the car, it's the down payment plus payment times years times 12. So this is everything you need for financing, right? You just have to read the questions carefully. Okay, so make sure you have this written down. Make sure you have this written down correctly. Double check if you got everything right. And some of you might say, let's look at total paid to the bank. Payment times years times 12. Think about it. It's the monthly payment times, let's say it's 5 years over 12 months. So there's 60 payments, right, that you made. So 60 times the payment, that's obviously how much you will have paid to the bank over the 5 years. So it's always 12 because we only deal with monthly payments, okay? In this course, we don't do bi-weekly or semi-monthly or anything like that. We just deal with monthly. So I would say these formulas, I will put that under loan here. I would say a car loan, right? If you want to have a section, and I will give you, I think if you use up more than a square, more than a section in your study sheet, that's fine for this unit because it's like if you compare all the other units, this one has the most formulas, right? So it's okay to bleed into another section. Yeah. One. So you can have one. You can start over if you want, but only one piece of paper. Yeah, and you want to build. You don't want to just use up like the whole page and then start another one for the next unit because I'm going to start asking from previous units, right? So I would say for vehicle finance, if you want to use 2 sections, that's fine. Half a page for this unit if you're running out of room, but I don't see a lot of you running out of room, so I'm not too worried about it just yet. Okay, let's do some math here and put those formulas to use. And quite frankly, the monthly payment is going to be the most frequently used. Okay. So page 16. You need to start reading and having everything in mind, what's happening here. You need to borrow. That is the key word for where it's a loan, right? You know, you should be thinking, okay, this is going to be a car loan. That's where I'm at right now. So don't worry about taxes. Don't worry about taxes when it's loans, okay? I will make a note here. Don't worry about taxes. Okay? If it's a loan, that the amount you see is how much you're planning to borrow. Okay, so the loan is 31,500, and it's a new car. The dealership offers a 5-year loan at 3.5%. Okay, calculate the monthly payment. The monthly payment is what we call payment, right, in our formulas. So it's just payment, it's purchase, and I'll write down the formula here, minus the down, and that will be multiplied. You can be guaranteed to put 1,000 down here. Do that right away. And we're going to come up with a value here, which is the table rate. Let me just put table rate for now. Okay. In this case, there is no down payment. So all we need to put in here is the 31,500. So write that down. Let's put minus 0 because there is no down payment. And now we're going to fill in numbers here. We're actually going to go to page 18. So what you need to do is you need to match the years with the percentage, right? You're going to match that and come up with a value. That's the number that's going to come in here. So let's go to page 18 for this. And so you got to remember, it's 5 years and 3.5%. Those two will help you find that table rate. So let's go to 18. It looks like this. How about we find 3.5% first? It's right there, right? Interest rate. And this is over 5 years. So it's 1819. It's this. You can circle it if you want. Okay. But before we write that down, I don't want you to just blindly write things down. What does this number represent? It says the monthly payment per $1,000. Okay. And this is blended. This includes the principal and the interest combined. So this is how much you pay for every $1,000 you borrow. Okay. So we go back here and you write down the 1819, and there's the per 1,000. That's why you have it divided by 1,000. Okay. So let's go ahead and say that this is going to be 31,500 minus 0, that's just irrelevant, times 1819 divided by 1,000. And that is $572.99, right? The 5 bumps that to a 99. Okay. This is monthly payment. So there you have it. That's how much you're paying every month, right? Using the table. Okay. What's the total amount paid back to the bank in 5 years? Total paid to the bank is going to be the payment, right, times years times 12. That's the formula that I gave you. So the payment I just figured out, it's $572.99. This is a loan over 5 years and 12 like that. So we just go 572.99 times 60. Sorry, 5 times 12 is 60. So if you're wondering what, you can just go ahead and do that. And you go 34,379.40. Make sure you put 40 there. 34,379.40. How much did you borrow? What was your loan again? 31,500. How much did you pay back? 34,379. What happened there? The bank just made a decent profit. That's how banks make money. They take your money that you're putting in savings and they give that away to people that borrow. And they give you a little bit of interest for saving, and they make money by people paying it back, right? So they get that profit. So they know what they're doing. Okay, they're doing pretty good. Which right? Banks should be making money because it's a business model. That's really what it is, right? Total interest paid for the loan. I forgot what the letters are, so I'm just gonna peek once because these formulas I just made them for you here. Total interest paid, it's TI, so it's this one here. So I'm gonna call TI is payment times years times 12 minus the loan. That's how you figure out how much you paid. And so if you think about it, payments years times 12 is here as well. So it is this amount here. But I'm just going to show you because sometimes we will not have calculated this beforehand. So I'll just show you that if you use that formula, that it works. You can actually type this in one shot if you have a good calculator. So the total interest, watch here, 572.99 times 5 times 12 minus 31,500. You get 2,879.40 cents. This is what the question is asking for. And I will, just for your notes here, I will just make sure that if you want to do this in steps, this portion here should be the same as the previous question. Okay. So we take the difference between what we paid the bank and what we started with, and that's our total interest paid. So how about this? I will ask you to do example 2 right away on your own because it's copy paste, right? Just read the question carefully because it's based on example 1. So let's see if you can figure that out on your own. That's possible. You just have to follow along and read carefully, okay? So using the same example in 1, so keeping in mind that this is going to be how much I'm borrowing, right? You decide to go with a 3-year loan. So how would your payment and everything change? So you're paying it off faster, correct? All right, let's keep that in mind. So use the monthly payment chart to come up with a payment. In this case, it's 31,500 times the table rate is 3 years at 3.5%, right? So the percentage is the same. You just need to go find that. So you essentially, you keep the interest rate, you're just going down to 29.30. Okay, 29.30 is your new table rate. So there it is, per $1,000. So let's figure that out. By the way, you can tell already that you're paying more, right? And it makes sense because you're paying it off faster. $922.95. So that's a pretty hefty payment, right? $922.95. It's almost like a mortgage payment, right? So that's how much you're paying per month, right? I will just say versus $572.99, right? So this versus what you used to pay. This is a 5-year loan. This is a 3-year loan. Okay, 5-year, 3-year. Calculate the total amount paid back over 3 years. Total paid to the bank would be $922.95 times 3 years times 12. And that is, I'm a little slow today, that is 33,226.20, right? Versus, this is what I want you to see. How much did you pay back in the previous example? 34,379.40. This is a 3-year loan. This is a 5-year loan. So a 3-year loan, you paid back less overall. And why is that? Because the less you take to pay off, the less interest you pay. That's just how it goes. So there you go. Total interest paid on the loan, TI. I'm going to go 922.95 times 3 times 12 minus the loan. And I can borrow this amount from here, right? It's probably a good idea to break this down to this. I'm just borrowing it from here. And then go minus 31,500, which is what you started with. And you can actually just do mental math there, right? So that's 1726.20. That's how much you paid back in total. So this is a 3-year versus how much did you pay in interest before? This much, 5-year. So I wanted you to see that the longer you take, the more interest you're going to pay. Okay. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Let's do some more calculations here. This one will involve a down payment here. So this is a longer example. So pay attention because there's some new things here, okay? Lots of questions, as you can tell. So you're buying a car at a dealership. It's $13,899 before taxes, so it's at a dealership. A down payment of $1,800 is required, right? Down of $1,800. And you're getting a 6.75 interest rate over 5 years. Calculate the total cost including taxes. So because it's at a dealership, you know it's 12%. There's nothing else, so we're just going to go 13,899 times 1.12. So in this case, you have to worry about taxes because it says before taxes, right? And that is this, 15,566.88. That is how much you're going to pay for the car, including taxes. Okay. The amount of loan required. So the loan is going to be 15,566.88 minus the down payment. There's no trade-in, right? So just take away the down payment. So we just keep that on our calculator screen, and so this is the amount of loan that we require. 13,766.88. When you're dealing with loans, this is the amount that you really want to find the payments on. What's left after the down payment. The monthly payment, it's 15,566.88 minus 1,800. Put that down like this in your notes, okay? Times a table rate divided by 1,000. And I just make a note here. You subtract the down payment after taxes, right? And that's important. It's not a trade-in. So let's go get that rate for this particular instance. So we have 5 years at 6.75%, and we're going to find that rate. So let's go to 18. 6.75 is right here. 5 years is all the way over to the right. So it's 1969, right? So you get that. You need that table rate in order to find the monthly payments, folks. You can't do it otherwise. So this is what you get. This here we're just going to indicate that it is that value we already calculated. But I'm not always going to make you calculate it beforehand. That's why I want you to stick with showing your work properly like this. Okay. So you go 13,766.88 times 19.69 divided by 1,000, and that is 271.07, because that 9 bumps that to a 7 per month, if you want to put it that way, right? So that's how much you're paying every month. The total amount paid back for the vehicle at the end of the 5 years. Okay, so this is not total paid to the bank. This is total paid. What letters did I use for that one? TPC? Yeah, TPC right there. Total paid for the car. So we take the down plus payment times years times 12. So the down payment is 1,800 plus the payment is 271.07 times 5 years times 12. And we're going to come up with a dollar amount here. You can actually type that in all in one shot. That is 18,064.20 cents. That's how much you pay for the car, including the down payment. Total paid to the bank is just this part right here. For the car, you would have to add the down payment, right? How much money in interest alone was paid? Interest alone is TI. Look at that formula. TI is right there. Payments times years times 12 minus the loan. So 271.07 times 5 times 12 minus, what is the loan? It's actually in B. We already did that up here, and it also shows up here. Okay, and the payment formula, you essentially are figuring out the loan. So let's put an arrow here and say this is the loan. I would always like you to go back to when you calculated your payment, just grab that number. Sorry. So that's 13,766.88. And this you could technically type in all in one shot. And that is 2,497.32. That's the interest you've paid for this particular loan over 5 years. So a lot of information, yeah? But I just wanted to have all these questions on here so you know how to do it, right? How much interest? Watch this one. This one is always mistaken with total interest. Read carefully. How much interest was paid? So interest, I would highlight, and it's first month's payment. Okay? And I forgot the letter that I gave you there. I think it's just lowercase I. Here. Interest paid on the first month. It's lowercase I. This is the one you're going to use. I is going to be loan times interest rate as a decimal divided by 12. That's how you calculate lowercase I. Okay, so what's my loan? I already figured it out earlier. It's 13,766.88 times. Please do not use the table rate. Some students will go and get this here, 1969. Hey, it's already a decimal and everything. Perfect, right? Let's just plug that in there. This is the interest rate, which is what? Let's go way up here to the 675 and make an arrow go all the way down to this question. That's what goes in there. And if you go 6.75 divided by 100, right? If you're not sure, how do I write this as a decimal? It's that, 0.0675. Use everything. Okay, that is where you get the interest rate from, not the table rate. All of that divided by 12. So we go 13,766.88 times 0.0675. All of that divided by 12, and it's $77.44. And I'll give you a note here. Always lower than the payment. If you do this and you get an amount that's bigger than your monthly payment, you made a mistake. Okay, so what's your monthly payment? It's $271.07. This should always be lower than your payment, because you just figured out of that 271, the first month is $77 towards interest. So you've worked hard to make that payment, right? $77 of that goes to the bank for their profit, and the rest actually goes to paying off your loan. So you got to wrap your head around that. This is on the first payment, and it goes down after that. Slowly, the interest gets lower and lower because you owe less. Okay, if you add optional equipment, let's see if you remember this, which costs $1,500. What's the sticker price of the car? Do you remember that? Sticker is base plus options plus, yeah, freight. Do we have freight? No, but we do have base and the options. My base price is, go all the way up. It's the $13,899. The options in this case is $1,500, no taxes. So this is just to see if you're still awake, right? Because this is way back, right? This goes way back to the beginning. There you go. That's your base. That's your sticker price in this case. You don't have to worry about it. If you kind of forgot about it, but you should definitely have that on your study sheet. So I would say before you even start working on the questions that I'm assigning you, we have like 16 minutes left. I would say put the formulas on your study sheet, because if I AC you tomorrow, you're gonna be scrambling. I can tell you that already. Okay, so don't wait until it's too late. Go ahead. So I want you to do page 20. How about we just do page 20 and 21? They're just longer questions, okay? It's not, and if you want to keep going, do it. That's good. I'll give you the answers. Actually, not today. I'll give you the answers tomorrow. I might give you a bit later because I have to work them out yet.